Caitlin, you liked an Instagram post last night from Taylor Swift that got a lot of attention.
Did you ever think you'd see the day when Taylor Swift fans become the biggest voice in the WNBA? It's real, and it's all because of one player, Caitlin Clark. But why are the Swifties suddenly so invested in women's basketball?
I think for myself is, I have this amazing platform, so I think the biggest thing would be just to encourage people to register to vote. I think for myself, this is the second time I can vote in an election.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. This is where the crazy starts. The latest and most surprising fan base in the WNBA was unintentionally formed by a player's remarks about a pop star. These days, the Swifties aren't just watching games, they're altering the entire experience. How did this significant change in WNBA fandom stem from Angel Reese's remark regarding Taylor Swift? What does it signify for Caitlin Clark's chances of staying in the league? Angel Reese's innocuous remark regarding Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift set the whole thing off. Abruptly, the Swifties dominated the WNBA.
At age 22, I could vote when I was 18, so I think do that. That's the biggest thing I can do with the platform that I have.
But not for Reese. Rather, they came together in support of Caitlin Clark, making her an overnight social media sensation. What specifically did Reese say to start this controversy? You have to wonder. Well, Swift's enormous fan base found her remarks to be offensive. Reese's remark was not well received by the Swifties, who are renowned for their fierce loyalty. Rather than taking aim at Reese, they chose to express their solidarity with Clark. This is not your typical response from a fan. The Swifties are known for their ability to mobilize swiftly and efficiently. Do you recall when K-pop fans disrupted the NBA? That's similar to this, but much stronger. The Swifties have the ability to instantly make Clark one of the most well-known figures in women's basketball. A supporter summed it up. The Swifties have now joined up with the Caitlin Clark fans. If you thought the actual fans of Caitlin Clark were bad, oh, the Swifties are worse. That isn't overstated. We are discussing a fan base that has the power to launch or derail careers with a single tweet. Consider it. Although Clark was already a rising star, she now has a devoted following of people who may not have ever watched a WNBA game. This might completely alter the course of her career and the league. It's not just Clark that the Swifties are tweeting about. They are forming an entire movement. They're creating memes, sharing highlights, and making every game an event that shouldn't be missed. It seems as though they've determined that Clark is the Taylor Swift of basketball and are working hard to establish her as a star. This goes beyond a single player or group of fans.
That's the same thing Taylor did, and I think continue to educate yourself with the candidates that we have, the policies that they're supporting. I think that's the biggest thing you can do.
It has to do with how social media can change the sports industry. The Swifties have demonstrated their ability to affect everything, including movie box offices and music charts. Their current focus is on women's basketball. Hold on. The Swifties are altering the game instead of just observing it. All of a sudden, WNBA is in the spotlight, and Caitlin Clark's every move is in style. But will Clark benefit from this unexpected attention, or could it backfire? You'll be shocked at how quickly the Swifties have seized control. Caitlin Clark has become the most popular person on social media as a result of their widespread use. They seem to have decided that Clark is the new Taylor Swift of basketball, and they won't accept defeat. Imagine only seeing Caitlin Clark's highlights when you open Twitter. That's the current situation. Every basket, every help, every play that Clark makes while on the court is shared by the Swifties. She's becoming an overnight sensation on social media thanks to them. The thing is though, this goes beyond likes and retweets. Clark's entire career may be altered by this Swiftie takeover. Consider it. As Clark gains more attention, more brands want to collaborate with her. A player with a large fan base is highly sought after by sponsors. and the Swifties are providing just that. Not only Clark, though, is experiencing the love. The WNBA as a whole is improving. Some who have never watched a women's basketball game before are tuning in to find out why everyone is so excited. For the league, that is enormous. A supporter put it best: once the Swifties find somewhere to settle, they multiply and they take over. There's nothing anyone can do. That's the power that's at play here. The Swifties throw everything into a cause they choose to support. However, let us address the most important topic at hand. Angel Reese. Recall that it was she who unintentionally initiated the entire situation. An army of Swifties is now supporting her opponent. That must be an odd sensation, don't you think?
Know what's absurd? This may develop into an entirely different kind of rivalry. These days, it's not just about what occurs on the court. Up next is Reese versus Clark and the Swifties. Fans love it. It's like watching a soap opera about basketball. How much longer will this last is the key question. Is this a passing fad, or are the Swifties here to stay? In any case, it's causing a revolution in the WNBA that we haven't seen before.
What's wild, not only are the Swifties changing things up, but they are completely rewriting the rules for women's basketball. We are discussing a potential revolutionary invasion. In a WNBA, your Twitter following would be just as important as your free throw percentage. Crazy, huh? It's no longer just about Caitlin Clark. The WNBA has become an entirely new battlefield thanks to the Swifties. Traditional basketball rivalries and social media wars coexist in our world. It appears as though the game is being played simultaneously in two distinct arenas. Consider it. These days, athletes like Clark and Reese compete outside of the court. Their numbers for likes, shares, and retweets are compared. That puts pressure on a whole new level. When you're concerned about your Instagram engagement, how do you concentrate on your jump shot?
Furthermore, it's not just the athletes who are hot. The WNBA as a whole is attempting to determine how to respond to this Swiftie invasion. Do they embrace it, strive to conduct business as usual? They seem to be engaging in a game of chess while the Swifties are engrossed in Candy Crush. This is where things get really interesting, though. The league's expansion may benefit greatly from this. More people watching the game means more merchandise flying off the shelves, more tickets sold, and possibly even better TV deals. The WNBA may finally get the boost it needs from the Swifties.
Conversely, what occurs if the Swifties become disinterested? The problem with fan bases is that their loyalties can vary greatly. They might move on to the next big thing one day, or they might be all about Caitlin Clark the next. The WNBA needs to figure out how to win over these new followers in the long run.
Not to mention the other participants. What do they think of all the attention that Clark is receiving? Some may see it as an opportunity to improve their own online personas. Some might object to the additional attention. It's like being in high school again, only with contracts worth millions of dollars at stake. The WNBA is being forced to think more broadly by this whole situation. These days, it's not just about what occurs during the 40 minutes of gameplay. The current focus is giving fans an experience that never ends. The league needs to do better to keep the Swifties interested. Social media takeovers, behind-the-scenes content, player Q&As.
However, you know what's truly thrilling? For women's sports in general, this could be the beginning of something very special. Who's to say other fan bases won't try to imitate the Swifties and make the WNBA hip? Perhaps next we'll see the Barbs enter women's MMA, or the Bayhive take over women's soccer. What's wild? Not only are the Swifties altering the game, but they are completely revamping the women's basketball playbook. This isn't your typical fan base. It's a full-on takeover that has the potential to change the way fans interact with the WNBA.
Consider it, many of Caitlin Clark's ardent supporters may be first-time game watchers. For the league, that is enormous. However, it goes beyond Clark alone. For all women's sports, this could be the beginning of something significant.
The important question is this: what will you do about it? Will you participate in the activity, or will you merely observe from the sidelines? There's an opportunity for you to be involved in the WNBA's transformation. Is this the new formula for achievement in women's sports? When pop culture and sports collide, everyone is forced to watch. It may be crazy, but it could work.